No, we're going to call it Forgive While Holding the Wisdom.
Yes, today that's what we are going to talking about. Welcome to Awake TV. So Sue gave us the title of the topic. Anyhow, so today we wanted to share with you guys about this because I came to the a comment about you should be forgetting what's happened, and I never kind of like thought about this, so I googled it, and then it seems like a lot of people have this concept you should forgive and forget, and that was kind of like a shocking concept to me. What do you think, Sue?
Well, it feels like it would feel better to be able to forget all about a situation that causes us pain or struggle or turmoil. However, I think that if we don't remember, sorry, I was eating peanuts. If we don't remember the situation and at least remember how it caused us to feel, then we lose the wisdom of the situation. That the fact that we got through it is a beautiful thing. The fact that we've come to a point where we want to forgive an individual or whatever, a group for the situation, it's a beautiful thing. But if we can't maintain the lessons, how we've grown, and how we use that information moving forward, then I think it's a lost lesson, so to speak. It's kind of like if you went to school and you learned something in algebra class, and then you went on to college and learned something completely different. You've forgotten that information from algebra. It's not serving you.
Yeah.
So then you say, well, why did I even take that class in the first place?
Mhm.
We can apply this sort of idea to life. And I think each and every one of us goes through something, some kind of relationship struggle or a situation that can cause us a lot of pain. I mean, I don't know one person that hasn't. And forgiveness is a release for ourselves. We empower ourselves by not hanging on to the energy of the situation. We are liberating ourselves by letting go of our attachment to that person or that situation. But maintaining a conceptual memory of it is not to repeat it, or in understanding how it caused us to grow. I think that's wisdom. What do
Yeah,
you say?
I think that's a good idea because I'm pretty sure you have this experience that when we offer quantum, hypnosis session, there are a lot of commonality in the past lives our client or even ourselves see like patterns, right? And over and over and over happening, and then each time, each lifetime, we might forget what we did in last time and then keep on repeating same mistakes over and over and over again. Maybe slightly a different choice, but when we put it in the simple manner, just repeating the same choice over and over. That what we call as a karma. But even that, I guess maybe by looking at that, I felt like forgetting is not a good idea because that's a perfect example for me why you shouldn't be forgetting.
And that's what we experience when we give sessions in quantum healing is people come to us because they have had an issue in their life or a hang up or something, a phobia or a recurring problem, and they can't, or the same relationship over and over again with a different person, and they can't figure out why does this keep happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so if it is based in a past life, we do the hypnosis. If it is based in a past life, then we help them cause to remember.
Yep.
Then things start to make sense for them
Mm-hmm.
why they're now struggling with this person in this lifetime. And that's ammunition for making empowered choices.
Yep.
saying, okay, geez, I did this in that lifetime too, and I brought it over into this lifetime because I need to resolve it. So I'm going to shift my behavior this way, which will help me feel empowered, and then I won't have to keep repeating the same mistakes over and over again. So, I mean, what's that worth to a person to be able to remember if it's in a past life or a future life or many lives?
Yeah, it's a
But
big.
even remembering in this life,
Mm-hmm.
and then piecing together the connection to those other lives, it builds such a crystal clear picture of what's really going on, and your common sense can kick in and go, oh gosh, now I understand it. Now it makes sense.
Yeah, it's a progression, right? Because we are all here to grow as a soul. But for some people, it might be difficult to have sudden epiphany or sudden growth, like awakening, you know. Then you want jump from A to Z, you know, and then you might be repeating same A again, like next and next and next. And then if people like our clients, they are at least aware of hypnosis is very helpful for them to find out changing their repeating patterns or transforming themselves or find out why this is happening, you know. And
Hmm.
then
I
by
know that when I
Mhm.
no, go ahead. I'm sorry. I thought you were done.
Oh yeah. So by going a bit of forgetfulness on Earth, each time we incarnate, we forget everything. So stuff seems like going all over again. Even though we have higher selves and the spiritual team, there is just so much you can influence because they have to abide our free wills, right?
Yeah, yeah. Um, no, I was just going to say that I think that was one of the most liberating things in my personal life was understanding that there are multiple lives, that reincarnation is a thing, because number one, it gives you a chance to try again. You can't
Mm-hmm.
get it wrong. You can't
Yeah.
get it wrong. And so, part of the forgiveness step for me was recognizing that these are fallible humans, they're souls that are fallible just like myself, and they may be at a different point in their evolution than myself, their spiritual growth. And it's okay, because even if, what they did may not be okay, it may hurt, it may be painful, you may never want to see that person again, or you may want to see them go to jail. I don't know what. There's some pretty horrendous things that people can do
Mm-hmm.
to one another. But having the broader perspective and knowing that we're all just here growing our souls, and that some souls are not in the same point of consciousness that others are, it helped me to forgive. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yeah,
it
it's
helped.
almost like a come to the acceptance, right? That's where they're at, that's where I'm at. Like when it comes to family member or something, and then when your family member is vibrating really low, selfish, stuff like that. And then, but you can at least see their improvement a little bit. And then you just accept, okay, that's where she's at.
Yeah. Even people that are, commit heinous crimes. We want, we've been taught to want, vengeance and justice and all these other things. Well, knowing that there are multiple lives, I know that these people are going to cross over at some point. They're going to die, and they're going to cross over, and they're going to get their life review, and they're going to go. That's got to be the worst punishment, when you step out of conscious awareness as a human and go into the collective higher consciousness of understanding all that there is and going, what the hell did I just do? Right? So I've even been able to let go and forgive, people that do heinous things, because number one, it isn't my gig, it isn't my shtick, but number two, they're they're going to have to deal with that when
Oh
they're
yeah.
back into their higher self. and their soul evolution, they're going to have to deal with that. And I think that's a worse punishment than anything a human can give. But getting back to relationships, like you said, with the family members, I also think it's easier to forgive. Um, to when we see them as at a certain level of consciousness, okay, this is where they are, this is what they're capable of, this is where they are, and then we make empowered decisions for ourselves. How do we want to relate to that
Yeah.
person, if at all?
Even that is your parents, if they are having lower consciousness, you got to decide how you're going to relate to that person.
Yeah. And then sometimes, despite what society wants to tell us, sometimes we do have to make a break from family or close friends or, a love that's a long term. Sometimes it is when we've given and given and given and we're still not receiving. Sometimes it is the best decision to part ways and end the relationship. We can still hold the love, and that's why it's good not to forget, because we can still hold the love and respect of an individual as a soul that's still growing without being resentful, without thinking, oh, that person did something to me. No, they did it to themselves. But the fact that we can remember what it is that's happened, that's maintaining the wisdom without keeping yourself in the emotion of pain all the time.
Yeah, and the plus once how, because we are each accountable for what's happened. Even, we might feel like the other person is 90% responsible, 50-50 in a way, because you decided to get involved in whatever, right? So once stuff happened, then you feel like, okay, you came to a certain level of forgiveness. And then you feel like, do you want to forget? Because you put yourself in the situation you didn't want to be. And if you forget, you're going to do that again, right?
Yeah, we don't want to do it again. Yeah.
With another person.
Yeah. Same person, different face. I hear that a lot, and I have to agree with that.
Yeah,
We
that's
get
a
to a point where
lesson.
we decide for ourselves what we're willing to give in respect to the relationship is what we're receiving. Is it equal? It doesn't have to be exactly 50-50 down the line. Sometimes, I'm going to be putting in 60, he's going to be putting in 40 because that's where he's at this point in his life. And then, but can it reverse? Can we
Yeah.
switch it? Can there be times where I need the 60% to come to me and
Hmm.
he's only getting 40? Can we do that role reversal?
Yeah.
Um, and can we be okay about it, like we're not keeping score? Like,
Yeah.
oh, last week I gave you this.
As long as
Come on.
both try to have like putting their effort to it, right? For real.
Yeah, yeah. But maintaining, so, maybe we could talk about ways that people try to forget and kind of link that to how it isn't conducive to building your future. For example, the thing that's popping into my mind is I think people use chemicals or substances or other addictive things or behaviors, addictive behaviors like overeating, too much sex,
Drinking.
whatever, drinking, drugs,
Keep themselves busy.
overworking.
I think.
There's another one. Some people are workaholics and they use that to stay away, to try and forget something, to
Mm-hmm.
avoid it. And I say that those are counterproductive adaptation tools, adaptive tools, or protective, devices if you're talking about the human psyche.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can't remember it, or you're causing yourself not to remember, what it's only doing is prolonging the inevitable, which is dealing with the feelings of what you're trying to forget. Whereas if you can deal with the feelings of the trauma, the pain, the situation that happened, and allow yourself to keep feeling it as much as you need to. If it pops in and you're feeling it, you allow that to come through as shitty as it feels, because sometimes it does feel
Yeah.
really shitty. Um, keep allowing yourself and take care of yourself while it's happening, and then you get to the point where you can forgive when you've allowed yourself to feel all of whatever you needed to feel,
Mm-hmm.
because then your perspective comes back in. Now that the emotion isn't so intense, now your perspective comes back and you can see that person as another soul that has struggled and did some things maybe they wish they didn't. So their forgiveness comes in. But as you said, if we don't allow ourselves to remember it, we could repeat it, and also we're not giving ourselves the credit for getting through it either.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
There's wisdom and there's personal empowerment that happens when we see something we went through and went, holy cow, how did I get through that? Or, geez, I dealt with it a lot better than I thought I would.
Mm-hmm.
There's that feeling of personal power that's going, wow, I'm a pretty tough cookie. I can handle anything. And then it gives us strength to move on to the next thing.
Right. And then once you gain a wisdom, you can share that to other people. So that becomes
Yes,
a treasure.
it is a treasure for
And
sure.
feel like each of us do have those to share with each other, right? So I think another reason why it's important not to forget, because many of us do have our own experiences and our own stuff we learned from our challenge and tough time, right?
hmm I think that's where the cliche comes from. Remember your history lest you repeat it. I think that's one of those universal truths.
Hmm.
As difficult as it is to remember some things, um, as we said, there's so many reasons to remember it. Now, that staying connected to the emotion of it, that's different. And as I said earlier, we do want to allow ourselves to grieve, to go through whatever emotions we have about a situation. And then once you get to the point where you're willing to forgive, that memory comes in handy.
Yeah,
Anything else you want to add on to it?
I think, no, not particularly. I think we talked about it. I mean, I talked about it enough on this subject.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and if anybody has any questions or thoughts or comments, leave it in the comment section for us, and we'll come back and talk about it some more.
Yes. Alrighty. So thank you so much. Please share, like, subscribe, and we see you guys next Friday. Bye.
Bye.
That was good.